Welcome to Kitchen Table Tangles. My name is Rick.
Hi, I'm Maria, and today I'm just going to do a tile because my regular meditation.
And you're actually doing it at the kitchen table.
I am, you can see it at the kitchen table. And so you can see I had a sort of an exuberant pencil string, and any string would work. You can either follow along with me or just watch and then go back over again, which is what I would probably suggest. This
And
is kind of a fun little journey here.
we're planting idea seeds.
Right, right. So I'm making a grid, but my grids are never really straight. I try to give them as much character as possible. It's just part of my ways about things. And
Except the grid behind it on the kitchen table, we'll tell you briefly the story of that, is it is a giant, what's the name?
Scrabble.
Scrabble. It's a giant Scrabble that Maria scratched into the oak table,
I actually cut it into the table
and
and colored it in, but it's
colored
all
it in.
worn off. We put together about four sets
Right.
of Scrabble, and the whole family
And it's
plays
got
together.
extra rows and
Yeah.
rules and yeah. So in each of those, we'll treat this. Maria's treating this as like a fragment and reticula, and you can
Right.
see what she's doing there.
So in each section, we're going to do the tangle or the beginning of the tangle well, which is one of my favorites and one that Rick has been teaching for a long time. And what you do is you put the circle in the middle, and then you spin lines off of the circle in sort of like a takeoff and land
Right.
kind of way. And I'm actually going counterclockwise. Whatever you do in this particular tangle, I did the same thing throughout the whole one.
So there are different ways to do it. Like with any fragment, you can uh, do it the same way. You can mirror or flop it, and so you have all of those options. In this case, Maria's doing it all the same.
So now I am going inside each of the little triangular shapes and adding those little. There's sort of an aura, but
That tethered aura,
a tethered aura.
anchored
Yeah,
aura.
anchored aura or.
We're still playing
Yeah,
the words
somebody
around that.
gave me a good word for it the other day, and I can't remember what it is. But it's a little bit time consuming, but it's a lovely meditation, and it gives a great texture. But if you look at the fragments so far, if you look at them a certain way, you can see Huggins in the back there.
Right.
It's sneaking in.
Yeah. And then as you add these components, it you lose the dividing line of the reticula. The reticula just becomes another part of the pattern.
Right.
And you'll see in some cases she's gone. Watch how she goes over the circle, and with the brown ink, it it makes
It
it
changes.
changes. So you can add a little bit of contrast even with the same pen.
See how it almost looks like it's getting black, but it's
Mm.
not. It's just a little more brown. And you can see that it gives, you almost feel like the dark ones are sticking out a little, so that if you ran your hand against it, you could
Mm.
feel all those
Feel
little
the texture.
buttons. Yeah,
Yeah.
the texture.
So these are the sorts of things that you can play with, and you can also see how she is just, in the tiny ones, just sort of maintaining a similar look and feel.
So I apologize because my general speed, this is not speeded up. This is my
Right? This is
this is
her
how I this is how I tangle
and cook and
and cook and yeah, everything. So whatever.
so it leaves this really nice texture.
So now we're going to fill this middle section with sort of a almost Aquafluer,
Yeah,
but in a linear kind of.
sort of an Aquafluer meets pepper.
Yeah,
And notice how as she gets to the end of the stroke, that the pen width increases. She's increasing the pressure there.
right.
And this is with the O1. It's not designed for this, but a lot of tools that we use them in ways they're not designed for.
I'm very heavy-handed with my tools, which sometimes is a great thing and sometimes not so great. But you can see how the different weights in there, it sort of, I do it automatically.
Well, it's the lettering background because the downstrokes are often weighted, right?
Hmm. So now you can see how that's kind of, now you can see that receding in the middle. Adding a little bit of brown in between these lines, just for fun. And I design on the fly. I never know what I'm going to do until the next pen is in my hand.
So
So
I can see your brain working.
yeah, okay, what can I do next? So I'm going over and adding weight to those brown lines. You can see now they're starting to get a little more interesting.
Well, it's that contrast and the different coloring of the brown that it offers. And just that going back and giving it some extra attention and love.
And again, if you keep going over and over, it gets really dark. So you can see the difference
Mm.
as I'm drawing. I love these brown pens because of that.
Well, it's almost like more than one color in the
Hmm.
same. And of course, you notice how she's turning her tile even on almost every one there that just so it fits her hand and so it fits your hand. You don't have to draw it the same way.
So anybody who's new to this and doesn't know that much about Zentangle, the reason why that you turn your tile is it so your hand is making the same stroke all the time. If you know you want it to have a comfort, so you're not holding your hand up above the tile and doing anything awkward in awkward directions where you wouldn't have control over your pen. My hand almost never leaves that one spot where it is.
Using the same muscle groups for the same stroke. So it's just lifting up off that textured background there. It's a nice combination of strokes, those very linear ones with that tight textured one.
Oh, so I guess I got a little exuberant with some what's this
With transcending.
transcending. So I took a probably an '08 and drew on top of the tile. There you go.
Bye.
Bye.